A few months ago, one of the shows on Fox News aired a segment on a concept called the Cathedral. I was just as shocked as anyone to find Fox News using that kind of terminology, adopting an idea that was connected to an obscure internet political theory that almost no one had really heard of until a few years ago. At the time, I did a video addressing this segment, where I said, yes, this is a net positive, this is a move in the right direction, but you really shouldn't expect neo-reactionary thought to suddenly become mainstream. And it turns out I was completely wrong. You can imagine my shock yesterday when Yarvin sent out an email to all of his readers that he had recently appeared on Tucker Carlson's online-only show called Tucker Carlson Today. That show is behind the Fox Nation paywall. I think it's around $6 a month if you want to watch it there. But if you don't have a boomer relative who's already subscribed, a quick YouTube search can find you the interview in its entirety. And I do suggest watching the whole thing. It's well worth your time, and I won't be breaking down every aspect of it here. Despite a large helping of Yarvin's trademark rambling, he did a pretty good job with the interview. He managed to hit many of the highlights and didn't pull his punches when it came to things like democracy. Tucker seemed to be in a fascinated state of shock throughout the entire interview and really was willing to let Yarvin go anywhere. Yarvin was able to weave together the concepts of the cathedral and the deep state in a way that I think makes it more accessible to the boomer crowd. And Tucker seemed particularly fascinated in the idea that we are undergoing one of the many transitions our nation has seen in the style of government we actually practice. So I guess the question is the same as it was in the last video. What does all of this mean? Is neo-reactionary thought going to be mainstream now? Will it be something that everybody is familiar with? Well, I think we can safely say that NRX is no longer some obscure internet political philosophy. Don't get me wrong, it'll still be very niche. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people flocking immediately to this way of thought. But we've seen huge growth in its notoriety lately, with Yarvin and many of the other people around NRX seeing their profiles grow quite a bit in the mainstream recently. I doubt all the more complicated and challenging aspects will become widely understood. But we are now legitimately in a situation where your boomer parents or in-laws may have actually heard a good amount of Yarvin's power analysis and critiques of the system. And if some of this stuff hasn't already made its way into conservative think tanks, which I'm pretty sure it has, it definitely will now. And mainstream conservative political thought is going to have to grapple with these issues. The level of notoriety that is brought by Yarvin appearing on Tucker means that these people now must answer these challenges. And that means that the ideas are far more likely to be heard and far more likely to be taken on by many people who are in positions of power. With different aspects of neo-reactionary thought having leaked into the halls of power, we're more likely to see thinkers, authors, and commentators playing with these ideas as they try to make their arguments. Which is pretty far from fixing the issues with the right or the GOP, but at least it's a step in the right direction. Now, many people online are saying, well, if this has gone mainstream, then obviously it's useless. It's of no threat to these people if it's being allowed these major platforms now. And that's a crabs in the bucket mentality from a lot of people on the dissident right. It's a lot of sour grapes. You're not actually supposed to succeed. This is punk rock. What are you doing, selling out? If any part of your message breaks through, if any part of it goes mainstream, well, then you just weren't hardcore enough or whatever. But I do think there's one thing that we should be wary of, and that is the necessity of gatekeeping. A lot of these establishment conservative commentators or organizations are just going to want to water down some of these arguments and then use it to channel energy back into the GOP machine. So now is probably a great time to have that discussion with a friend or a relative who seems like they were on the fence. Someone who knew things were wrong but needed something a little more established to tell them what was going on. Now they can sit down and watch an episode of Tucker with you rather than some random guy on the internet. And hopefully you can help them take those red pills before the GOP manages to water them down. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and click like. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time to do so. If you would like to follow me on Twitter or you would like to donate to my Subscribestar like the amazing people who are currently being displayed on the screen right now, you can follow the links in the description below the video. That's also where you'll find links to my Odyssey and Rumble channels and my merch store if you want to check any of those out. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, I'll talk to you next time.